Have you ever found yourself wondering what would happen if the people you love were no longer able to be there whenever you needed them? It's not an easy question to ask. Yet for many older adults, it quietly appears in the still moments of the day. Perhaps after everyone has gone home from a family gathering. Perhaps late at night when the phone doesn't ring. Or perhaps when you realize that the children who once depended on you now have families, responsibilities, and worries of their own. No one is to blame. Life simply changes. Children grow busy with work and raising their own families. Close friends move away, face health problems, or gradually become fewer with each passing year. Before long, many people discover that the circle they once relied on has become much smaller than they ever imagined. And that's when another question begins to surface. If I can't always depend on others, who can I truly depend on? At first, that thought may feel unsettling. But after caring for older adults for more than 3 decades, I've come to believe it can also become one of the most freeing realizations of later life. Because the goal isn't to live without people. The goal is to build a life that remains steady, meaningful, and peaceful, even when others can't always be there. Throughout my years as a physician, I've had the privilege of meeting hundreds of remarkable men and women in their 70s, 80s, and beyond. Some had large, loving families. Others lived alone. Yet the happiest and most confident among them all shared something unexpected. Their greatest sense of security did not come from the number of people around them. It came from the habits, routines, and inner strengths they had carefully built for themselves. Today, I'd like to share the 5 foundations that I believe matter most. These are not complicated strategies or expensive solutions. They are simple pillars that can help you protect your independence, your health, and your peace of mind as the years go by. And I encourage you to stay with me until the very end, because the 5th pillar is the one many people overlook for most of their lives. Yet once they discover it, it often changes not only how they grow older, but how they see themselves every single day. Let's begin with the first foundation, and in many ways, it may be the most important one of all. Physical mobility. One of the biggest misconceptions I hear from older adults is this: feeling weaker is just part of getting older. There's nothing I can do about it. It's an understandable belief because aging does bring changes. You may notice that climbing stairs takes more effort than it used to, or getting out of a deep chair isn't quite as effortless as it once was. Over time, those small changes begin to feel normal. But there's something many people don't realize. Growing older and becoming inactive are not the same thing. Age certainly affects the body, but inactivity often causes a much faster decline than aging itself. Our bodies are designed to adapt. Every time you walk, reach, bend, or stand, your muscles receive a signal that says, "I'm still needed." Your joints stay flexible because they're being used, and your brain constantly practices the tiny adjustments that keep you balanced on your feet. When movement becomes less frequent, however, the body begins making different decisions. Muscles gradually lose strength because they no longer have a reason to maintain it. Joints become stiffer after spending too much time sitting. Even your balance starts to decline because the nervous system isn't being challenged as often as it once was. That's why healthcare professionals often repeat a simple phrase: use it or lose it. It isn't meant to sound discouraging. It's simply the way the human body responds to daily life. Whatever you continue to use, your body works hard to preserve. Whatever you stop using, it slowly lets go. This becomes even more important after the age of 70. When we're younger, our bodies recover quickly after a few inactive days. But later in life, even a short period of reduced activity can lead to noticeable weakness. Regaining that lost strength usually takes much longer than losing it in the first place, which is why prevention is so valuable. The early signs are often so subtle that people overlook them. Maybe you hesitate before getting out of your favorite recliner. Perhaps you choose the elevator instead of the stairs without thinking twice. You may start declining invitations to go shopping or take a walk because you're worried about getting tired too quickly. Individually, none of these changes seem dramatic. But together, They can quietly shrink your independence, one small decision at a time. I remember one of my patients, Mr. Harris, a 79-year-old retired mail carrier. Unlike many people his age, he wasn't interested in fitness classes or exercise equipment. Instead, he made one simple promise to himself. Every morning after breakfast, he would walk to the neighborhood park and back. Some days it took 20 minutes. Other days, he stopped several times to rest or chat with neighbors. It wasn't about speed, and it certainly wasn't about setting records. During one of his annual checkups, I asked him what kept him so consistent. He smiled and said, "Doctor, I don't walk because I enjoy exercise. I walk because I enjoy opening my own front door, carrying my own groceries, and living in my own home." I don't think I've ever heard a better explanation. He understood something that many people miss. Every walk wasn't simply exercise. It was an investment in his freedom. Each step helped him continue doing the ordinary things that gave him confidence and independence. So, if there's one habit I'd encourage you to begin today, let it be this. Move your body every single day. You don't have to walk for an hour. You don't have to exercise intensely. Even 10 or 15 minutes of steady movement can make a meaningful difference over time. If the weather isn't good, walk indoors. If walking is difficult, practice standing up from a chair several times, or do gentle stretching while holding onto a sturdy countertop. The goal isn't to become stronger than everyone else. The goal is to give your body one clear message every day. I'm still using you because I still have a life to live. The second foundation is financial simplicity. People often assume that financial stress comes mainly from not having enough money. Sometimes that is true, but in many cases, the deeper problem is not the amount of money someone has. It is the number of financial details they are trying to manage. A person may have several bank accounts, multiple credit cards, automatic payments, insurance statements, utility bills, online subscriptions, and investment documents arriving at different times. None of these things may seem overwhelming on their own, but together they can create a constant mental burden. Even when you are not actively thinking about money, part of your mind may still be trying to remember what is due, which payment has been made, whether a charge is correct, or whether an account has enough money in it. That kind of low-level worry can follow you throughout the day and make it harder to feel truly at peace. As we grow older, financial complexity can become more tiring than it once was. This does not mean a person has lost intelligence or the ability to make good decisions. It simply means that sorting through large amounts of information may require more concentration and energy. A system that felt manageable at 50 may feel exhausting at 75. Small print becomes harder to read. Passwords are more difficult to remember. Statements look more complicated. A simple billing mistake can turn into an entire afternoon of phone calls and frustration. There are often warning signs that your financial life has become too complicated. You may leave envelopes unopened because you are worried about what is inside. You may postpone checking your bank balance because you do not want to feel anxious. You may repeatedly wonder whether you have forgotten a payment, even when everything is probably fine. That constant uncertainty can make a person feel poor, even when their basic needs are being met. The problem is not always a lack of money. Sometimes it is a lack of clarity. I once worked with a patient named Eleanor, a 76-year-old former librarian. After her husband passed away, she discovered that he had managed most of their household finances. She was left with 3 bank accounts, 4 credit cards, several automatic subscriptions, and a drawer filled with documents she did not fully understand. At first, Eleanor tried to manage everything exactly as it had been. But every bill made her nervous. She checked her accounts several times a day, afraid she might miss something important. She was not in immediate financial trouble, yet she felt as if danger were always just around the corner. Eventually, she decided to simplify. With help from a trusted advisor, she closed the accounts she no longer needed, kept one main checking account, reduced the number of credit cards, and canceled several services she had forgotten she was paying for. A few months later, she told me something important. She said, I don't have more money than I did before, but now I understand where it is, where it goes, and what I need to do. That has made me feel safe again. That is the real value of financial simplicity. It is not about becoming wealthy. It is about making your financial life clear enough that you can manage it without fear. When your money is organized, your mind no longer has to carry so many unfinished questions. You can begin with one very small step. Look through your recent bank or credit card statement and find one recurring charge you no longer need. It may be a streaming service, a magazine, a membership, or an app you forgot you had. Canceling one unnecessary expense will not transform your finances overnight, but it will give you something equally important, a sense of control. And sometimes, peace begins not by adding more, but by removing what no longer serves you. The third foundation is consistent health routine. One of the biggest mistakes I see is that many people don't begin taking care of their health until something goes wrong. They wait until their blood pressure rises, until a fall sends them to the hospital, or until a routine checkup reveals a problem they never expected. But good health is rarely built during a crisis. More often, it's the result of small, ordinary habits repeated over months and years. Drinking enough water, taking medications at the same time each day, going for a short walk after breakfast, stretching for a few minutes before bed. None of these actions seem remarkable on their own, yet together they create a strong foundation that supports both the body and the mind. Think of it this way. You wouldn't expect a beautiful garden to stay healthy if you only watered it after the flowers had already begun to wilt. The same is true for our bodies. They respond best to regular care, not occasional rescue. This becomes especially important as we grow older because our bodies recover differently than they once did. In our younger years, we could stay up late, skip meals, forget to drink enough water, or neglect exercise for a few days without noticing much difference. But later in life, even small disruptions can have a greater impact. A missed dose of medication may affect blood pressure or blood sugar. Several days of inactivity can leave muscles feeling noticeably weaker. Poor sleep may drain your energy for the entire following day instead of just one morning. This is where a daily routine becomes so valuable. A routine removes unnecessary decisions. Instead of asking yourself every morning whether you should take a walk, you simply know that's what you do after breakfast. Instead of wondering if you've taken your medication, you already have a familiar pattern that makes forgetting much less likely. In many ways, a routine becomes a quiet partner that helps take care of you. There are often subtle signs that life has become too unstructured. You may occasionally forget whether you've already taken your medication. Some days you realize it's mid-afternoon before you've had your first glass of water. Meals happen at irregular times, and your energy seems unpredictable from one day to the next. Many people assume these changes are simply part of aging. Sometimes they are not. Sometimes they're signs that the body is asking for more consistency. I remember a patient named Daniel, an 80-year-old retired carpenter. After losing his wife, his days became completely unstructured. He woke up at different times, skipped breakfast more often than not, and sometimes forgot his morning medication until lunchtime. When we talked about making changes, I didn't ask him to overhaul his entire lifestyle. Instead, we built one simple morning routine together. Every day he would wake up at the same time, drink a full glass of water, take his medication, prepare a simple breakfast, and then spend 10 minutes walking around his neighborhood before reading the newspaper. A few months later, he smiled during one of our appointments and told me, "Doctor, my mornings finally have a purpose again. I feel like I'm taking care of someone who matters." That sentence has stayed with me ever since because that's exactly what a healthy routine represents. It's more than a schedule. It's a daily reminder that your well-being is still worth your time and attention. If you're wondering where to begin, don't try to change everything at once. Big transformations often fail because they ask too much, too quickly. Instead, choose one habit. Perhaps it's drinking a glass of water as soon as you wake up. Perhaps it's taking a 10-minute walk after lunch every day. Perhaps it's setting a reminder so you never miss your medication. Keep that one promise to yourself for a week, then another week. Over time, those small actions stop feeling like chores. They become part of who you are. And before long, you'll discover that the strongest health routines aren't built through willpower alone. They're built through consistency, one ordinary day at a time. The fourth foundation is emotional resilience. When people think about aging, they usually focus on physical health. They worry about aching joints, slower movement, or chronic illnesses. But growing older brings another set of challenges that are often much quieter. It means saying goodbye more often than you once did. Sometimes it's the loss of a lifelong friend. Sometimes it's the passing of a husband or wife. Other times it's leaving the home where you raised your children, or realizing that familiar faces in your neighborhood are no longer there. Even positive changes can carry unexpected emotions. Retirement, grandchildren moving away, or children becoming busy with their own lives can all leave a person wondering where they fit in now. None of these experiences mean you've done anything wrong. They simply mean life keeps changing. What matters is how we respond to those changes. Many people believe emotional strength means never feeling sad. They think strong people don't cry, don't grieve, and don't admit they're lonely. But after spending decades listening to older adults share their most private thoughts, I can tell you that's not what emotional resilience looks like at all. Emotionally resilient people still feel sadness. They still miss the people they love. They still have days when the house feels too quiet or when memories arrive unexpectedly. The difference is that they allow those feelings to exist without letting them take over their lives. They understand that sadness is a visitor, not a permanent resident. This becomes increasingly important as we age, because loss naturally becomes a more frequent part of life. If every disappointment leaves us feeling hopeless, or every goodbye convinces us that life has little left to offer, it's easy to become trapped in loneliness and bitterness. I've seen people gradually stop answering phone calls, decline invitations, and avoid meeting new people because they're afraid of being hurt again. Little by little, they don't just lose relationships, they lose hope. There are often early signs that emotional resilience needs attention. Perhaps your mood depends entirely on whether someone calls you that day. Maybe a canceled visit from family leaves you discouraged for the rest of the week. You may find yourself replaying painful memories over and over, unable to enjoy what's happening in the present. These reactions are completely human, but they don't have to become permanent. I remember one of my patients, Helen, an 81-year-old retired music teacher. After her younger sister passed away, she told me the evenings became the hardest part of the day. The silence felt overwhelming, and she often found herself trying to stay busy simply to avoid her thoughts. One afternoon, she shared something that had slowly helped her heal. Every evening after dinner, she would sit by the living room window with a cup of herbal tea. For 15 quiet minutes, she allowed herself to think about whatever was on her mind. Some evenings she smiled as she remembered family vacations. Other evenings, she cried. Occasionally, she wrote a few lines in a notebook about what she was feeling. When the 15 minutes were over, she gently closed the notebook, stood up, and continued with the rest of her evening. She told me, "I stopped trying to escape my feelings. Once I started listening to them, they became much less frightening." I thought that was remarkable. She wasn't pretending everything was fine. She wasn't forcing herself to be cheerful. She was giving herself permission to feel, while refusing to let those feelings define the rest of her life. That's the heart of emotional resilience. So here's one small practice I'd encourage you to try. The next time you notice yourself feeling lonely, frustrated, disappointed, or anxious, resist the urge to push the feeling away. Instead, pause for a moment and simply name it. Say to yourself, "I'm feeling lonely today," or "I'm feeling disappointed." Those few words may seem simple, but they create an important shift. Instead of becoming the emotion, you become the person observing it. And once you can observe it, you can begin moving through it. Because emotions are part of being human. They were never meant to be your enemy. They were meant to be acknowledged, understood, and eventually allowed to pass, making room for hope, gratitude, and joy to return once again. The fifth and final foundation may be the quietest of them all, but I believe it is also the strongest. It is something no one else can give you, and no one else can take away. I'm talking about having a personal code of values. There comes a point in life when many of the roles we've carried for decades begin to change. You retire from the career that once gave your days structure and purpose. Your children grow up and no longer need your guidance in the same way they once did. Perhaps you lose a lifelong partner who shared your routines, your dreams, and your daily conversations. When those roles begin to disappear, many people ask themselves a question they never expected to face. Who am I now? For years, it may have been easy to answer. I'm a teacher, I'm a business owner, I'm a husband, I'm a mother. But when those titles fade, they can leave behind an unexpected emptiness. That's why I believe every person needs something deeper than a job title or a family role. They need a set of personal values that remain steady no matter what season of life they are in. If your sense of purpose depends entirely on what you do for other people, then every major life change has the power to shake your identity. But when your life is guided by principles instead of positions, you carry your purpose with you wherever you go. Whether you're working or retired, whether your house is full or quiet, whether people praise you or overlook you, you still know exactly who you are. I've noticed that the older adults who seem most at peace are rarely the ones with the easiest lives. They're often the ones who have decided how they want to live, regardless of what life brings them. Because every decision becomes simpler when your values are already clear. Without that inner compass, however, life can begin to feel uncertain. Some people drift from one day to the next without much direction. Others constantly seek approval, hoping someone else will reassure them that they're still important. Even small disappointments can leave them questioning their worth. A strong set of personal values protects you from that uncertainty. I once cared for a gentleman named Samuel, an 83-year-old retired mechanic. He lived alone after his wife passed away, yet there was something remarkably peaceful about him. He never seemed rushed, resentful, or discouraged. One afternoon, I asked him what kept him so grounded. He reached into his wallet and pulled out a small folded card that had clearly been there for years. On it were 5 short sentences. Always keep your word. Treat every person with respect. Learn something new each week. Be grateful before you complain. Leave every place a little better than you found it. He smiled and said, "Whenever life gets confusing, I don't ask what I feel like doing. I ask which choice matches the man I want to be." I thought that was an extraordinary way to live. His rules didn't solve every problem. They simply gave him a reliable direction whenever life became uncertain. And perhaps that's what a personal code is meant to do. It doesn't promise an easy life. It gives you a steady heart. So I'd like to leave you with one final exercise. Take out a sheet of paper sometime this week. Sit somewhere quiet, without distractions, and ask yourself a simple question. What kind of person do I want to be, no matter what happens around me? Then write down 3 values that matter most to you. Perhaps it's kindness. Perhaps it's honesty. Perhaps it's curiosity, patience, generosity, or faith. There are no perfect answers. What matters is that they're your answers. The truth is, we cannot control everything that happens as we grow older. We cannot stop time, prevent every loss, or guarantee that the people we love will always be nearby. But we can decide what kind of foundation we build beneath our own feet, because the strongest support system isn't always another person. Sometimes, it's the life you've patiently built through your own daily habits, your own decisions, and your own character. So before you leave, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 5 foundations do you feel is most important for your life right now? Or perhaps there's one small change you've decided to make starting today. Share your answer in the comments below. Your story may encourage someone else who needs to hear it. If you found this video helpful, please take a moment to give it a like. It helps more people discover these conversations and become part of our growing community. And if you haven't already, Be sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss future videos designed to help you stay healthy, independent, and confident through every stage of life. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Take good care of yourself. Keep believing in your own strength, and remember this: the greatest source of security isn't found in waiting for someone to rescue you. It's found in becoming someone you can rely on, one day, one choice, and one habit at a time. I look forward to seeing you again in the next video.